It's the final day of download, and I have Halestorm with me.
Yes,
in
thank
the
you for
boudoir.
having us.
No, thank you for coming. The moment you find out you're going to be playing with Alice Cooper, like, what is the facial expression you get, or the reaction? Like, what do you do in that moment?
Well, it's funny because, like, after so many years of being in a rock band, you meet all sorts of people. I've gotten to be on stage with so many people, and I've got to meet my idols. But Alice Cooper is like, he's like the A in the ABCs of like rock and roll for me. Like he was the one that made me realize I wasn't cool when I was a kid. So I'll try to make this story short. So when I was 11, our parents moved to a new neighborhood. We moved to a 20-acre farm, and there were a couple neighborhood girls that asked me to a sleepover. I was like new in town, and they told me, now this is like '96 at the time, so this is when like TLC and Spice Girls and
days.
That was popular at the time. So they asked me, they said, well, bring some of your favorite CDs. And so what do I bring? Is Alice Cooper's Love It to Death.
Love it.
And Ronnie James Dio's Holy Diver, because when I was 11, that's what I was listening to, and I loved that music. So, again, long story short, I go to the sleepover. We put in my CD. They're like, oh, let's listen to Liz's CD. Put in the CD. I don't think we made it past the first chorus. Everyone looked at me like I was an alien.
Oh, no.
And like, why do you love this music? This is weird. This is like old stuff and whatever. So I went back home and I told my parents, I'm like, I had fun, but they didn't like my music, and that was kind of a bummer. And my dad goes, good. And I'm like, why, Dad? Why is that good? You know, I'm a teenage, I'm 11, my life is over. And he's like, because you like that music only because you like it. You don't like it because it's popular. You don't like it because it's not trendy. And so, but it's funny because I told this story to Alice, and I said, I can trace that pride in being a weirdo back to that moment that you gave me that experience. And so now I get to go on tour with you, and I get to sing these songs that literally I know deep down spawn from that, like Freak Like Me, and Ms. Hyde is definitely an Alice Cooper influence. And it's like one of those things where, I don't know, I'm able to wear, all of my weirdness on my sleeve because of Alice Cooper. So it's pretty cool.
Now I want to ask you about the Grammys, because you're twice nominated. Like, when you go on that red carpet, is that the most surreal night of your life? Because you're just looking all directions, seeing all these familiar faces. And
we're always like, what are we doing here? Because not only was it weird the first time, but it's even weirder the second time, because you think the first time it's a fluke, right? This kind of happened, and we got a Grammy, and okay, this will never happen again. And then when we got nominated the second time, we're like, what is happening?
You're doing something right.
And then we always talk about, like, because it was a joke. When we were kids, we're like, oh yeah, we're going to the Grammys someday,
We really thought we weren't going to win it either.
Oh, of course not.
We were up against legends, and it was like, they just threw us in just so they have, we're like the newer band they threw in, and and they said, love bites. So we're like, what is that?
Who is that? Oh, it's us.
Oh my God! Crazy.
We were we were speechless. But
we played in front of 50, 60, 100,000 people, no problem. Getting up on a podium and making an acceptance speech, like, most nerve-wracking moment of my life.
Yeah, no, it's funny. We kind of take it as a personal accomplishment too, because it's like we've been the same four members for over 15 years. RJ and I have been doing it for 22 years now in Halestorm, and we keep talking about this, like, it proves that, okay, yes, we are crazy, but we weren't stupid. It's like there's a fine line, but there is a difference. And the coolest thing too, just on a personal note, as a girl, it's interesting because now over the years after that, there are all these girls that have come up to me. They're like, hey, when I heard you won a Grammy and you're a girl in a rock band, it made me feel like, oh, I can do that too.
We were saying earlier, like, not only with do we see more female bands, but we see more females coming to the heavier shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even the festival, like, the festival is almost completely, nearly 50-50 now. It's great,